This is a DOM, and here is everything you need to know about it. So let's go. DOM is a short form for Document Object Model. Think of it like a family tree of the web page, where there are many parent-children relationships throughout the tree. A parent-children relationship is established when an element is surrounded by another element. The element being surrounded is the children, whereas the element that is surrounding is the parent. It's like a parent hugging his or her children. In code terms, this relationship can be established by putting one element text inside another element text. Just like in real life, the parents can also play the role as the children, as they have their own parent. And these parents can have his own parents, and the whole cycle continues until the tree hits the top, being the ultimate parent. But unlike a family tree, the members in the DOM can be manipulated here and there. JavaScript allows us to change the elements in the DOM dynamically. This is called DOM manipulation. You can add, remove, or update a specific targeted elements or its attributes in the DOM. I will show you how you can do this and also its applications in the real web page. First, adding an element. I feel that the best way to illustrate this is with an example of adding an input element. First, you need to identify what does the standard input element have. The form tag itself, a class or an ID, the type of input, whether text, radio, number, etc., and an attribute such as read-only. So let's start with adding an input tag. You can do so using this code. Constant input equals to document.create element input. This means create an input element in the document, then put the result in a constant of input. This constant will then be used to add attributes to the new input element. The first attribute that we're going to add is a class or an ID. To add class, you type the following: input.classlist.add class you want. And to add an ID, there are many different ways, but this works just as fine. Input.id equals to ID you want. The next attribute to add is the type of input, which in this case is the type of text. You can do so with the following code: input.type equals to text. And if you want to set the input to read-only, you can do so by writing the following code: input.readOnly equals to true. So you can start to see the pattern here. The structure is typically the constant of the new element, not attribute equals to the value of the attribute. All these can be stored under a function, which can be called in the HTML file. For example, if you want to create a form element after pressing the button, you can put the function in the onClick attribute of the button. Updating style of element. Adding a new element is cool and all, but I feel that updating an attribute or style is more commonly used in web programming. These are the typical steps to do so. First, you get the element from the HTML, either by ID or class, and store it in a constant. Each have two ways of doing so. The ways of getting an element by ID are using getElementById by ID and using query selector with the hashtag. So the structure will look something like this: constant element equals to document.getElementById by ID or query selector ID of the element or hashtag ID of the element. And the two ways to get elements by class are using getElementBy by class name and using query selector with the full stop. So the structure will look something like this: constant element equals to document.getElements by class name class of elements or query selector class of elements. We do this to get the elements from the HTML, then we can do JavaScript to it. Without doing this, the JavaScript will not know what is the elements we are updating. This constant will then be used to add styling attributes to the element. The common ways to do so is element.style.style attribute equals to value of the attribute. For example, element.style.display equals to flags if you want display flags for the element. To remove style, you can put element.style.style to remove equals to none. So for example, to hide an element temporarily, you can do so using element.style.display equals to none. This is very useful for navigation bars. Again, all these can be stored under a function, which can be used in the HTML file. Removing element. To remove an element, the steps are also similar. First, you need to get the elements and store it under a constant, same as before. Then type element.remove element, or whatever the constant of the element is. These are some examples of how DOM can be used for creating a website. This can be used if you want to warn the user to put in their name if the user forgot to put. Basically, once you've gotten the element from the HTML document, you can do normal JavaScript to it, like checking the value of the element you have gotten, conditional rendering, etc. An example for conditional rendering is the following. What this does is hides the navigation bar when the user scrolls up. When the user scrolls up, a class of hidden is added, which you can install how the elements will look like when hidden. The following example is used to hide a navigation bar and replace the menu button with an X icon if the user clicks it. When the user clicks the button and activates the function, the count increases by 1. And when the count is odd number, the menu button will be shown. So yeah, these are everything you need to know about DOM. Anyways, that's my opinion. Bye.